Hi, just Islamic Dad here. Thought I'd do a video on my dating channel just because I don't want to make videos unless I can offer a new perspective or share my own experiences in a way that can help get the point across or help people learn from my experiences. So the one I wanted to share today's pretty straightforward, pretty obvious, I think. And that is that for myself, I have boundaries that I've created that I call self boundaries, where I don't necessarily communicate them out. It's more about what I will and will not tolerate, based upon other people's, behavior and actions. And one of them has to do with dating and expectations, or let me rephrase that, preferences in meeting new people. And so for me, because like many guys, I've spoken with a lot of my male friends about this. It is a problem for guys where sometimes you'll be dating someone, and after a couple of dates, or so, you will come to the realization that they view you as a Visa card, that they really could not care less about you. You're the guy who buys dinner. You're the guy who buys the movie tickets. You're the guy that drives up to the mountains, etc. And that because of that, you've at least other guys in my situation, myself, have had to kind of really draw some lines in the sand for our own personal mental health and emotional safety, honestly, where we've had to say, okay, this is the boundary that I'm drawing in the sand, because I'm tired. I will not let myself be taken for granted. I will not let myself be taken advantage of, especially in a fashion like that. And so, it's a free for all. I mean, every woman, every man can set the boundaries that work best for them. For me, what I've found is what I just call the 3-date rule, where within the first 3 dates, I need to see a strong, as in strong, indicator of attraction, passion, enthusiasm, that the person that I'm dating is attracted to me and, wants to be with me, respects me, etc. And that I'm not going to wait for date 8 or 9 with my fingers crossed, hoping that they get to that point. For reasons I won't go into on this channel, my time is valuable to me because I don't know how much I have. And so the option, it's not an option for me to waste 9 dates waiting to figure out where someone stands. So for me, I just have like a 3-date rule. And, that said, it has put me into some interesting positions because there might be situations where I'm dating someone who's attractive. I'm dating someone who's intelligent. I'm dating someone who we share a lot of common interests. I'm dating someone who's polite, who is, maybe considerate to some degree, etc. And, and to be clear, basically they are a good person. and they are checking off a lot of the boxes. But at the end of the day, this isn't me looking for friends at a meetup or something like that. This is me actively dating. And so my expectations are aligned with dating. And so by that third date, I prefer that I see some indication, I'm sorry, strong indication of attraction. Again, like stepping, back onto what I said about a lot of, a situation that a lot of guys have gone through is also mixed messages, where the person that they're dating might run warm one day and cold the next, and warm one day and cold the next, and might respond to a text within 5 minutes one day and a week, 5 days the next time. And again, like everyone can make the rules that work best for them, set the boundaries that work for best for them. I don't have any tolerance for mixed messages at this point in my life. I'm too old. Again, my time is valuable. I prefer to date people that know who they are and know what they want and are also able to communicate with me. So, switching directions here, I actually was dating a wonderful woman who, again, was just checking off the boxes, and extremely intelligent, one of the most kind-hearted persons I've ever met in my life. We had a ton of stuff in common. We had a lot of fun together, but there was no spark. And it was one of those situations where we came up on that third date and I was not receiving or seeing any strong indicators of attraction. And so we actually had it was brunch, really nice brunch. And we talked about it like mature adults. Fancy that. Two awesome Gen Xers speaking the truth. And we just both agreed. It's like, okay, I'm awesome, you're awesome, but there's no spark here. So, let's just be honest about that. And, this, as far as like dating, isn't going to go anywhere. So we should just agree to stop the dating at this time. And obviously, if there's a decision from either of us to pick up where we left off as friends, that's there. But that's not what we're talking about now. We're talking about dating, and just that we did 3 dates, not seeing the strong indicators of attraction. So this isn't going to go forward. And that was, it sounded like she literally had the same boundary that I did, where it's just like, okay, this is a date 3, not feeling it, not seeing it. And so it was completely mutual, and we ended up being amazing friends. Our lives are, very divergent and going in different directions, but when we do see each other, it's very warm and really nice to catch up with each other. But, getting back to the dating, honestly, what I just described, that is the exception to the rule. Most of the time, and this is one of those things that just makes me scratch my head. When I've reached that third date and I've just said, okay, or after the third date, and I've just said, look, I'm not seeing what I need to see to think that this is going to go anywhere. And I'm very cognizant about my time. and I am not seeing any strong indicators of attraction. And because of that, I don't think we should have another date. Um, and at least, the responses I've received have been very telling. One, they don't argue about the indicators of attraction. They don't say, "Oh my gosh, I am attracted to you. I'm just awkward. It's hard for me to show it or anything like that." That I never hear that. I never have that conversation. It's always this thing where they feel very slighted, very insulted. Oddly enough, they feel very offended that I called things off, and so which is fine. It just, I mean, in those instances, it just shows me that I made the right decision, because they don't, it shows they don't, what I want, what I feel is not even on their radar. So, not only is it like the, strong attraction not there, but the consideration is just, empathy out the window. So, where I'm going with this is just that when dating, if what I'm describing sounds like experiences that you've had, maybe consider, or sit down and think, okay, this is the number of dates that I feel is considerate to the other person to show me strong indicators of attraction. That said, I've heard of women that on their side will say that's 8 or 9 dates. I've actually had one of those, in my life, like maybe like 6 months ago or so, and I was just like, no, I'm not waiting around for 8 or 9 dates for you to decide whether or not this is going to work in as far as you being attracted to me enough to pursue this going forward. And so, I mean, and honestly, if you've gone on 3 dates and you don't know, that to me, that's like a double red flag. That said, I mean, to each their own. Maybe for some people, it might be date number one. And again, like if you're a good-looking guy, you've got your life down, the high value man, if you will. You have a lot to offer. Women, being in a position to date women, going on is not, any issue at all for you. Maybe one date is enough, and you just go on that first date and you just kind of read the room, as the saying goes, and see if there's any indicators of strong attraction or strong indicators of attraction. And based upon that, just make your decision on that. And, for me, typically, again, like for me, I, chose 3 dates, because it's also, I want to be sure I understand who they are. And for me, first date's a joke. I have no idea who someone is based off of the first date. That's just getting their name and knowing if they show up and if they're completely psycho or not. For me, second date is much better. Maybe third date to really check to see if there's consistency there. But yeah, after a third date, if I don't see any strong indicators of attraction, I'll just text them and just let them know. And say, look, I'm not seeing what I need to see for me to remain invested in dating. And so I wish you well, blah, 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 blah. And so again, Yeah, I just wanted to make this video not only so you can like decide where your line in the sand is, but also just to kind of keep that in the back of your mind if you're not doing so already. That when you go on these dates, you're not just saying like, "Oh, I had fun." Okay. I had a really good meal. Okay. We both are really into action movies or football or something. It's like, okay, those are all really good things. But if you're not seeing the person that you're dating, kind of, as the saying goes, leaning into you and trying to form, that type of emotional connection, or turning up the flirting and kind of steering the conversation and the interaction in a more passionate direction. If you're not seeing that, definitely be aware. Because again, I don't want other guys to remain in that trap where they're dating someone because they're extremely physically attractive, they're intelligent, they're fun, and all this type of stuff, but they're not showing any attraction to you. They are just simply enjoying the time together. And if it's more the dark side, they're enjoying your Visa card. So again, just something to consider. And the reason I'm making this video specifically today is that I did have kind of the weird situation that I'm describing, where the first date went extremely well, and I was seeing the indicators, strong indicators of attraction. I mean, when we were at the bar, her legs were slung over mine, and she was like leaning on me and practically laying on me, lots of passionate kissing. And so I was like, okay, this is what I like to see. This is a good sign. I'll see how things go. And then went on the second date, and right almost from the beginning, it just had a really weird vibe where it was like, okay, I'm dating my cousin. Just kind of that like, okay, we're on a date, but we're staying arm's length away from each other. And so, I mean, honestly, if the first date had gone worse, I would have called things off now. But the first date was so good, I figure, okay, I'll see how the third one goes. But that said, that's also concerning to me because I find inconsistency a huge red flag. Because if you're dating someone, and again, this is just me, and they're inconsistent while you're just getting together and dating, they could be inconsistent if you have like more of a longer term relationship with them. And if you're if you're fine with inconsistency, good for you. I'm not. I find that really just disappointing, bothersome. I like to know where people stand, especially if I know where I stand with them. I just expect reciprocity in that manner. So anyways, yeah, a long rambling video, but hopefully this has been helpful. Hopefully this is something that you'll consider as far as, where your line in the sand is, if at all, regarding the people you date showing strong indicators of attraction, so that you don't end up in a situation where the things are just not going anywhere, or even worse, you're being seen and viewed as a Visa card. So anyways, take care.